let's get started. Right. Okay. It gives him great pleasure to be doing the fan roundtable here with the lovely Ian Grant, Windy Gal, the returning flat white, or is it long black? That is Andy, and Leon. He wears a sling. Pettit. We will be joined by brother Malcolm. He's I think he's a bit nervous coming on with his client on here.
He's injured client.
He's injured, yeah. So could you charge him, couldn't you, Leon?
Or for putting him into a dangerous
dangerous environment,
yeah.
Isn't it? We talk about that later.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, how are you all?
Fine. Yeah, good.
Good.
Mate.
Good. Even you, Andy, you good?
Pulsating.
Well, I don't know where to go from there.
Quite something at my age.
But if we're talking about pulsating, let's go to, first of all, the first thing on the agenda, which is the post-match. And that, well, should we say, I nearly said an analysis, but analysis of the fan forum. What I'm going to give my thoughts just at the end, but what I would say is I'd like to ask people that were there, just what did you take from the meeting? Because I know we could be here for hours. What did you take from the meeting? So I know Leon, John and Ian were there. Andy was at the Now show, and we'll maybe talk about that another time. But first of all, Ian, what were your thoughts? Your take from the meeting?
I suppose my main takeaway was that there wasn't really any great consensus there, and the kind of longer it went on, the more people's positions became entrenched, and the less consensus there was really, which was a bit depressing. I think I was hoping that maybe with a bit more information there might be a kind of clearer direction for supporters to take, but that didn't really emerge. There's clearly quite a lot of people who blame the council, quite a lot of people who are unhappy with the club and its stance on potentially moving to Eastbourne, and not a lot of shared ground in lots of ways, which makes it obviously quite difficult to move forward. I think since then there have probably been some reasonably positive developments. I think the petition seems like a good, simple, practical way to go, and the more signatures that gets, the better.
Just a second, Ian. I haven't looked at the petition. What's the wording of the petition?
The wording is quite vague, to be fair, but I think it's clear enough what it's supporting. It's attempting to make the council rethink Tilekiln, basically.
Okay.
And I think the message is clear enough, even if the wording is, slightly vague. And that's got about 1,500 signatures so far, I think. So the more that can be built up, the better. But yeah, it felt to me like there probably needs to be a bit more listening and a bit less shouting at each other, really, if we're actually going to move on. Whatever solution there is going to come through the council, is going to involve the council at some point. So I kind of feel like there needs to be a bit of bridge building rather than bridge burning going on.
Okay. Windy?
Yeah, firstly, I think well done, Chris. You sort of was thrown in at the deep end a bit, really, and I thought you did brilliant, mate, because there was some people just not giving everybody a chance to have a word, and chatting over each other, mobile phones going off, all sorts of stuff. I don't know how you did it, really.
That was Leon's agent. Agent, mate.
Yeah, I did realise that. I mean, I was surprised the ambulance wasn't outside actually as well. So on standby. But no, it's much the same as what Ian was saying, really. I mean, it was a bit confusing at first, and some of it I found some of them. I think if the councillor had been there right at the beginning on the head table and so that we could get the questions off to him quite early on, it might have been handy. I don't know. It just seemed a bit. By the time he got going, it was it was a good hour, wasn't it, before he started chirping in, and then by then there's a few people who had a few to drink, and it was sort of people shouting over each other, which is why you did a good job, Chris, because you managed to control it. I had to leave before the end, so I don't know how it all petered out in the end. But following
No,
on,
we all lived happily ever after. Was
Yeah.
the
I wish. Following on what Ian was saying about the petition, just before we came on, I think they just passed the 1,500 on the amount of people that have signed it. I had a message from Robert in Germany. He's passed it on to the 10 German Bombers. They've all signed it, plus the chairman of the Bonn Football Club. So well done there. I noticed Steve Cook seems to have put his 2 pence in and sort of given a bit of support. It'd be nice to have a few more other people that are a sort of high standard. I was thinking along the lines of Gareth Barry, seeing that he's someplace at the club. It might help every little bit, it's just going to help, isn't it? I don't know. I think the main thing that we're all in favour of is not going to Eastbourne. I don't think there's anybody who wants to go to Eastbourne to watch Hastings. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be a long old slog, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see, won't we?
Leon. Oh, sorry.
Just very quickly about I think the emphasis on the community side of it, maybe that was a bit lacking in the first place. I don't know. It just seems to be more to the front of it, that all the kids are going to benefit from this now. It was always there, but it was more about just Hastings United as the team and maybe 1 or 2 clubs. But when you think about how many clubs could be involved in this, it's a no-brainer. I just don't get it. I don't get why the council have done. Well, there are reasons on that, but we'll see, won't we? There it goes. Oh, hang on.
Well, he's getting told here.
He's turned up.
The manners. Yeah, you move.
Park his helicopter.
Yeah, you go in the naughty step, mate.
He's ignoring you.
Yeah, well, he's got a face on him as well.
Eagle has landed.
Right. Carry on, Wendy, please.
Yeah, no, that was it, basically. So, we'll just see how it turns out. But I think more people to get behind this petition, especially. But then they've got to go somewhere. I think Ian was saying that it's a bit, I don't know, it was a bit vague in places. And if it's that people pull it apart, if there's a bit of vagueness in there, maybe it needs to be rewritten somewhere along the lines, a few more details put in. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not the one to do it, but it just seemed a bit vague in play. A few people were asking questions, what are you trying to achieve from this? And I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, Leon.
Just like what Ian and Wendy have already said. I thought it's sort of descended. It was a bit of a farce, really, when it sort of ended up being you said this, we didn't say that, you said this, or between the owners and the councillors that was there, and then obviously the Tory councillor got him. Well, was he a councillor? He was a Tory one. He got involved and sort of started pointing the finger.
And the Green as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the Greens would do that much finger pointing, but it's just descended into that a bit, didn't it? And I think that just sort of added to the whole atmosphere on the night. I think there's a section of fans that are sort of staunch, want to stay at the Pilot Field, weren't they? They were sort of putting questions towards the owners, which is fair enough. I think they've got to do think they've raised some good points, some good questions that need to be answered. Like you're saying, some parts were vague, so it's good that people are on it and are asking important questions. I don't know what else what's more to add at the minute, but
fair enough. Malcolm, we're just talking about the post fallout from the fan forum. You weren't there, mate, were you? So unless
I did listen to it.
But you've listened to it when I put it on, yeah?
What's your thoughts? Recording, but I listened to it.
Well, it would have been no recording if it weren't for Ian. There was going to be recording devices there, but because of an emergency, the person that was bringing them there couldn't be there. So luckily enough, we got some sort of recording. I know you're a bit finicky, Malcolm.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's hard of hearing at my age, mate. So
I'll go back and remaster. I'll go back to the original master tapes, Malcolm, and remaster it.
Thanks,
Ian.
Put
it out on,
the bootlegs.
Put it out on 180 grand vinyl at some point.
Yeah. I'll have a copy of that.
Nice. Yeah, gatefold sleeves.
Yeah.
There were some interesting points come up there, and it was interesting to listen to it all the way through, to be quite honest. I think some people, you've got some that were going, as Leon said, and may I just say it's very good to see you again, Leon. I didn't know whether you were still with us, but it's good to see you again.
Hanging out with better people, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, just think where you could be now. If
Not at A&E over the weekend, probably, but
exactly.
yeah.
And I think I got the impression, and without mentioning too many names, John's not here, but he jumped in a few times, I think, and didn't give people a chance to answer, and one thing and another. But in his defence, when he challenged them to produce where the 120,000 has got to be spent, I don't think, judging by, I wasn't there, as I say, but from the recording, they didn't answer that and didn't say whether they would or wouldn't or in any way. So I think his challenge was right there. But at the end of the day, they can't stay at the pilot field and want to. You know, as they said, you'll have no academy, you'll have no school, you'll have no girls team or anything like that. You can't train out of the borough and all play on that football pitch. It's so to progress, they've got to go and have some form of 3G and go elsewhere. That was what I got out of it. But how you go about it, I don't know. I think it was just to, the owners have done it to whip up a storm, and hopefully, that works, and it does whip up a storm, and it works and does its job. Purely what that's all about. But we all know that they're businessmen. They're out to make a bit of money, but I think they've also fallen in love with the club. And what it involves, but they initially, they come there, they could see a penny to be made, and they probably still can, but they put a lot of, I know them.
Hello, you're right. What's happened to?
I thought it was just me.
What's happened to Malcolm?
Own money now.
Malcolm, we lost you.
I'm still here.
Malcolm, we lost you. You were about to give your thoughts on the owners, and then you went off into a different time zone.
Oh, everyone else went. I was still going as far as I was concerned, but everyone else apart from yourself went.
Malcolm's just solved world hunger.
Yeah.
Solved everything, but he's missed it. World peace.
No, they put in a lot of their own money, admittedly, probably knowing they're going to get it all, or at least a large amount of it back. And I think they've fallen in love with the club. It's as well as, they still have to make a penny. They're businessmen. At the end of the day, nobody buys a football club unless they think they're going to make something out of it. Or business buys a business. But I don't know. That's what I got out of it, and whip up a storm, and hopefully it works. Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to say, I'm just putting my 2 pence in. They could have whipped up a storm a better way. The fact that this Eastbourne Borough thing happened 4 months ago, that they had this agreement with Eastbourne Borough. They had time to sort a meeting out. And Peter Sherlock, Darren Burney, they were very pleasant at the meeting. So don't get me wrong, I'm not having a personal dig at them, but they hijacked that meeting for this agenda. The supporters club was not, and that's why I'm gone from the supporters club now, because there's lots of other things that have gone on, but I'm done with them now, right? So they brought their agenda there. I don't think they answered many questions. I honestly don't. And what this area is screaming out for is facilities, right? And is the council going to provide the facilities? Because if they can provide facilities, then there's an option that we could stay at the pilot field. But as you've said, Malcolm, you can't have 300 teams playing on a one pitch, can you? I mean, I know I'm exaggerating, and if they, as you say, they're men that obviously can see an opportunity, but they've also, we can't argue with the progress that the club's made. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Now, I was hoping when I organised this that some people that would be like to chip up on Facebook and WhatsApps and all that and say a few words might come on, so that we could try and get the full amount differing opinions on this, which they've chosen not to. So at the end of the day, I know that I think I could talk for all of us, really. We all want what's best for this club, but we want it to be a secure club. We don't want to be homeless. We don't want to be in debt. And we've seen documents saying that the club is in debt, or I've been told there is. And so there's all these bits and pieces that I think that the club need to clear up in terms of, you either say it's your money that you spent, or it's a loan. And then it's different, isn't it? It's not your money. But I mean, has anyone, you've seen the stuff about the 180 grand, was it? I'm trying to remember.
What, to pay for the actual planning stuff, you mean?
220,000.
200, yeah, 200 grand.
And it's, well, and so it's that side of things. That you, and it's like I don't know. Bottom line, I was all for the time killness. Everyone knows. I've organised the marches. I did all this. I've fucking thousands of hours for the supporters club, trying to sort all this out. We were told a certain thing by the club, that the reason why it isn't happening is because the council don't want it. The council said it's because of climate change, climate emergency and all this. Andy Batsford comes up and says it isn't, it's because the club weren't signing off guarantees. I mean, Ian, were you at that meeting, Ian?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. And so it created an atmosphere where I don't believe anyone.
Yeah.
I don't believe the council, and I'm not sure about the club. I'm not sure about it. So it's like, you are where you are. So it's, what can you do? There's no plan B or C. If we can have a lovely new ground, new facilities, because that's what the coaches want. That's what all the playing staff and coaches, that's what they want. They want facilities. They want places to train. We've got loads of people, loads of, the youth system, and there's nowhere to train. So it's like, all right, yeah, you want to keep the pilot field, but there's nowhere to go. You can't keep people out of the borough all the time. It's just not, if we're going up the leagues, something has to happen. So
I think going back to what you were saying about the owners, I suspect that they might admit this themselves, or I don't want to put words into their mouth, that it would have helped a lot if they built up some trust before now by speaking more, being more available, being less hidden away. Because you kind of, it's at points like this where you use that trust and you've got something to work with between owners, between the club and supporters. And I don't think that really exists, which I think is a bit of a problem. That meeting was my first experience of them as people, and as you say, Chris, they rather hijacked the meeting. And again, I'm trying to be. I want to. What I think we need to try and do is try and be fair to everybody. Try and give everybody a fair hearing, because there are lots of sides to this. But it made me think. Well, okay, if that's how they're dealing with us, how are they dealing with other people? How, for example, are they dealing with residents who have got objections? Because residents naturally do have objections. Everybody is very happy for green space to be built on until it's the green space that's nearest them. And that's fair enough. I wouldn't be any different. So, how are the club trying to deal with those objections rather than just merely sort of parachuting in a load of facilities into a part of town? All of that stuff, it kind of makes me feel like the brinkmanship of what they're doing makes me uncomfortable, to be honest, because that's not how I would conduct myself, I suppose. And it just makes me a bit uncomfortable that we're in a position where basically they're saying it's Eastbourne or bust.
Yeah.
They're saying it's Tilekiln or bust, basically.
When would they have announced it? If I hadn't organised a fan forum,
exactly,
which was only supposed to be players there, and then I was asked to, why don't we give Billy a shout, see what the state of the moves is, and then it went from that to, it's like, well, when were you going to tell us? So that, to be honest, I have got no personal issue with those two gentlemen, and they were very pleasant to me and nice. So don't get me wrong. So it's just that an atmosphere is built up around this.
I tend to agree with you, Chris. When you're going back to when you said you really don't know who to believe. And I'll go back to when I'm saying, and John Wills challenged them to produce the report of 120,000. And also when they said about, like you're saying, signing off these things, where the councillor said, well, show me the email that you replied, and again, they couldn't do that. So you tend to think, well, hold on, if you're going to come to one of them meetings, come armed with everything, you say 120,000, it is a report, I've written it all down, there's copies here, come and get them, and you've got that report there. And all right, the email may be that you wouldn't come already pre-armed with that, but you'll be able to access it and say, yeah, I replied to all these, and we signed them all off. You can't just sit there.
Their argument is what they should have said straight away is, yes, I did send that email. I'll find it again for you and send it again after this forum, but they didn't say any of that, did they?
No, they didn't say. They just said we have replied.
Yeah.
You know, and that was it. There was no proof of this reply. You know, 3 times he asked. I heard on the thing 3 times he asked for them to say it. You know, show me. And 3 times they pretty much ignored it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, but Crispus, you were saying that it was 4 months ago the Eastbourne Borough thing came. I didn't know that. I must have missed that bit somewhere along the line. So 4 months ago. Now, the last 4 months, every now and again, some people come up to me and say, well, what's happening with the ground? I say, I don't know, I haven't heard anything. So for 4 months.
But they said at the meeting it was 4 months ago. I didn't know anything about it being 4 months ago.
No, but I'm just saying there must have been things happening. But like you say, they kept it quiet. You don't have to be full on, but just to keep everybody in the loop to say things are happening, blah, blah, blah. Just a little bit of information, but it's been so quiet, and now this. And I honestly can say, if we have to go to Eastbourne, that's the death of the club. It ain't gonna happen. Yeah,
personally, I think a lot of this is brinkmanship, waiting for May because you've got elections.
Yeah, but May might be too late. That's March.
We're not going nowhere.
No, I hope not.
We're not going nowhere, in my opinion.
Having said all that, you know, how was this one councillor made the decision, if you see what I mean? You know, all the other councillors said we knew nothing about it, and one guy has decided that he's going to throw the planning permission out. You know, it's
well, I don't want us to go into this again, but I according to the councillor said that they told them not to put planning permission in, that they wouldn't be accepted. That's what he said. Now that obviously the club disagree with that, I'm on either side of this, because as I say to you, I'm just, after this fan roundtable, I'm not really getting involved with this again. I'm just like, in terms of a conversation discussion, because what we need in front of us is bits of paper with writing. This is what, you know, not he said, she said type stuff.
And it goes back to that petition being vague again as well. I mean, you know, people will sign the petition, there'll be even more people sign it if it was clearer, but there's a few things on there that just aren't clear. Like Ian was saying, it needs more concrete stuff to tell, you know, the details all behind it. It'll still be enough people. I mean, I'm surprised 1,500 already, to be honest. But I showed you that one. I'm not going to mention his name, but there was a guy who he's claimed to be a Hastings fan, and he's admittedly said it wasn't his interest wasn't in the first men's team; it was in the ladies' team. But he said there's a lot more things more important going on in the world than this, which fair enough. But what really got me is when he called Hastings United a village team. We're never going to be a village team, and that, you know, and he wasn't joking. He was serious for a little while until I pulled him up on it, and then but there's a few people like that, and it's that dangerous.
Obviously, there's a lot of keen people out there, and like say with this petition, whoever wrote it up, because I'm not getting involved with any of this, anyone that's written up is probably quite keen, and the language, the actual specifics. I mean, sometimes it is good to generalize, because you want to generalize on some points that we can all agree with. Yeah. So that because all about any of this, I think all of us just want this to move forward. Yeah, just whatever's happening, let's move forward with it. You know, if there's little stickling points here and there, let it not be like before, where they're just forgotten about and parked, and then when the business time comes, well, you know, we haven't dealt with those things, and that's why it can't go forward. So, do you know what? Should we leave it there, gentlemen, on the fan forum?
Yeah.
You got nothing to say about it, Andy?
No, I think circular speculation. I think we have an opinion, but we don't have a lot of influence as fans, unfortunately. I think all we can ask for is information, and probably try not to contribute to the air of suspicion and confrontation and conflict, really. But we're perfectly within our rights to ask to be kept well informed on the situation, and to know that people are doing their best. And that's the thing, really. So just try to keep a lid on it, but nevertheless insist that we get kept abreast of what's going on, really, so that this sort of thing doesn't all pop up again like this.
Yeah, and then also it stops people making rumours, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
there's so many things that just come out, and you just think,
The Facebook site has had nothing else for a week, was there? It was just, and the sort of things that John was talking about, just everyone's got, and that social media is a disaster in these sort of situations as well. And the petition's very well meaning. And it was, it's not going to be lawyer tight, is it?
That's a problem.
But it does create a groundswell.
I think it sends a message. I think
exactly. That's all you want from that. But I think generally, people should try to sort of back off and certainly not fight with each other about whether it's Tile Kiln or the Pilot Field. And that's important, that we don't get into the People's Front of Judea situation.
I've already had that. I've had multiple messages.
Yeah,
I'm the devil now.
That should be avoided at all costs. But nevertheless, demand clarity and information so that everyone knows where we stand.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think.
Go on.
Sorry, Dan.
I was going to say there's definitely that a divide amongst the fans, and that's why I sort of don't want to get.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Sort of take a step, sit back from it, and like we've been saying, we want to see the facts in front of me before I make any sort of real serious decision. But like we're saying, that's social media for you, isn't it? This day and age, I think people have strong opinions, and opinions may get taken the wrong way, and you get misconstrued, and it's just.
But Leon, that is opinions, man. I'm not. It ain't social media's fault. It's people not being adults. If you think something different from me, I shouldn't be upset with you. I mean, it's just adults. We're supposed to have a conversation. You could think one thing, and I could think another. Yeah. I mean, we could think of multiple things back in the last few years where if you had opinions on it, you were this or you were that. And it's just, I can't understand it, particularly, all of us here want the best for the club, don't we? We want it to move forward, want it to be successful. We want it to progress.
I think that's what we've got to remember, isn't it? We've all got that one common thing, that thing in common, don't we? We all want the best for the club. We're all passionate about Hastings United. And there's people out there that might not even be passionate about Hastings United, but want, the best facilities for the community, for the kids in this town. Obviously, you're getting those people involved in this with that petition.
I strongly feel that supporters can make quite a big difference. And I've been involved in all sorts of. I was involved with Wimbledon fans and Brighton fans and supporters trusts and all sorts of things over the years. And so I really do feel that we can make a difference. But the main difference that we can make is by being grown-ups about the conversations that need to be had with both the club and the council. Because the only way we get out of this is by the club and the council cooperating. So, there are people within any fan base who've got talents, whatever they might be. And there are things that supporters can achieve, even if it's just facilitating those conversations and stopping everything from becoming as entrenched as it has been. Because the club and the council have to talk to each other, otherwise there's no way out of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think just quickly before we put it to bed, I think he was very brave. If you're a councillor I don't live in the town.
Yeah.
But if you're a councillor for sport and leisure and you're going to a meeting like that, when pretty much you've allowed most of your sport and leisure to leave the town, you've got to be a very brave councillor to go there and actually say he's got a job, because I don't see what his job is. If they've got no sport and leisure in the town, he hasn't got a job.
That's true.
How much interest in Europe do the European Research Group have?
Hey.
It's a modern phenomenon. You give something a name that is the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not on Radio 4 now, Andy.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Well,
you're not in that comfort zone, mate.
Yeah.
Is it fact or satire?
I think we got to bring you down to our level.
That's true. In any way, for any of us, even if Hastings move out, that whatever we do, the council do need to step up. Something has to come from them. So anyway, chaps, thank you for that. Sorry that went on a little bit longer than you might have wanted.
To be honest, as long as I feared it was.
Yeah, same here. I was just thinking the same. I could put my sleeping bag away now.
Right then, so we'll move on to nicer things. So let's move on to the wonderful Andy and his sultry voice coming across the airwaves, across the Pilot Field, as he is the new PA for match days.
Yes.
How many times have you done it now, Andy?
Well, I've lost count already. We went solo for the ladies' game on Sunday and for the Corinthians game last Saturday. So Pat sat in for the cup, the trophy game. So it was his birthday weekend, wasn't it? So he sat behind me with his whiskey miniatures that he'd been given as part of his birthday present, with a steady hand on the tiller. But then I got the playlists, wrestled them out of Adam's hand, and got them all onto my own laptop. And then Sunday for the ladies' game, Laura and I just wandered into the ground, wandered into the main stand, picked up the key, and sort of got on with it. Really.
Oh, nice.
So we're sort of fully empowered.
Well done.
So how are you finding it?
It's quite difficult from being a fan more than I thought it would do. It's surprising when you've got team sheets and especially with the bloody goal music now as well and things like that. You have to hit the ice hockey style celebratory music when the ball goes in. Although the first 3 games, I was beginning to think I wasn't a jinx. I was a jinx because I did the Crawley game, the ladies' game against Brighton, and then the cup game. And we didn't score from open play for every single game. So last Saturday, Ben Pope's goal last Saturday was the first goal I'd actually had in open play since I'd taken it on. So that I was relieved at that. It's surprisingly busy, but it's also dealing with the PA system is also hard work as well. But people have been very helpful. So
high technology?
Yeah, I know. Well, it feels like it's reasonable technology inside the box, but the sort of 1940s tannoy speakers.
It's got a bit of gramophone in there.
Yeah, on Saturday. It's all off Spotify, Leon. Would you believe?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I've
got a playlist.
Yes, I'm running it all off Spotify, and there are 2 sacrosanct players playlists for the men's and women's teams.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that on Spotify?
Yeah, well, they are now. Yes, yeah. So and also the goal music that sits there. But then obviously once you've got Spotify up, you've got access to the whole musical world in addition to those.
I thought you'd be in charge. I thought you're in charge of the PA. Whatever music Andy wants, that's what goes.
Mantrivani.
Well, it did make me laugh actually when the advert was for a music lover. And then I saw the players playlists. Yeah. But they do it's on Saturday, for example. It's really interesting because I was using my laptop on full first, and Dane was very helpful in getting the right volume, because now it explains why if you're in the main stand, you have to be slightly deafened by the music, because if you're not deafened by the music in the main stand, the players can't hear it over the far side when they're warming up. So in order to avoid getting scowled at by Jack Dixon, you lot, Malcolm, in the main stand have to endure tinnitus.
Well, yeah, but when I did notice, being a main stander, but I'd done a lot of walking around this week, when you're announcing the substitutions and so forth, you can hear them out of the main stand, but you can't hear them in the main stand. So you don't really know what's going on there.
It is. I mean, there's not much you can do to make any difference. I thought about getting a new microphone even. You're just sort of in the lap of the gods. The microphone and the music are obviously on separate feeds. And it sort of almost encourages you to sort of bellow a bit, which is obviously a bit stupid because I turn into a sort of sixth form schoolgirl when I start turning my voice up.
You wish.
Hey, kinky bastard.
Don't all rush. But and so it is difficult. Obviously, I spoke to Dane about it, and he said they'd have a look at it, but it's difficult because a lot of it all comes back to the same subject that we've just been talking about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's really interesting, and Haley's really helpful. I got to meet the on Saturday down in the directors.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Yeah, down in the directors' room because I can now just wander down into the director's refreshment area and nick myself a programme.
Andy, you cut out when you were saying that person's name. Who did you say? The legend?
David Ormrod.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Carry on.
so was introduced to him yesterday. So it's really interesting, that side to it. And yeah, because I could just wander down and get myself a programme and then wander in, get the key. Just to annoy Pat, I've put a Manchester City key ring on the on the key. Because he said his Leeds key ring, I think, had been broken and taken off it, and it's in the key box. So I found an old sort of 1996 relegation era Manchester City key ring that I put on it. That's quite distinctive. So it's good. I mean, it's the funny thing is, of course, that getting involved with it's so difficult tying Billy down to get him to acknowledge the fact I'd shown any interest in it. But then once you're in, yeah, everybody's been really helpful. And so just learning to get it right, really. So even like announcing the substitutes and announcing the player going off and giving a little bit of a break so that you can all cheer and clap, and then you announce the bloke who's going on. You know, just things, stupid little subtleties like that.
Do you get any comedy pauses in or anything like that? Have you?
Well, it's really difficult. Again, coming back to what Malcolm said with the PA and that, it's not really a situation where you can sort of gag it up. Really, it's just got to be just the facts.
I'm sure you can manage.
But you know, when we're in our new stadium with one of those deafening, you know, sort of Amex type PAs, then you know, maybe you get a bit more license. But it's just really good fun to help out and really good fun to do it. I've always wanted to do something like that. So just got to, you know, get better at it. And it's good fun. Yeah, it's good fun. Having the music is good fun. Like Tuesday against Canvey, because of Wilco Johnson's sad death, I can whack on a couple of Dr. Feelgood songs on Tuesday, for example.
Nice one.
So things like that are quite good. Gives me something to think about, you know.
Okay, thanks for that, Andy.
Yeah.
Right, moving on from that, let's move on to a fine 3-0 victory. Let's talk about football for a change. I wasn't there, so that starts well, doesn't it? Who was at the Corinthian Casuals 3-0 win?
I was.
Yeah,
all there. Good, right. All you lovely folk. Right. Obviously, 3-0 win. Ben Pope, Chinadu and Nori getting a goal. So who wants to start on it?
I will.
Go on, Ian.
What, Malks?
Go on, Mal.
All in all, I was disappointed that we didn't score more. You know, we played well, but to be fair, they got to be the poorest side I've seen at Hastings, to be fair, you know, and that includes last year and there've been some poor sides, but they were poor. They were a very, very poor side. And I think as soon as we scored, well, before we scored the first goal, but once we scored the first one, I think they pretty much give up. And they weren't good enough to be any good anyway. But, you know, once they'd given up, it was just, and I remember saying when we scored the second one, I thought this could be 7, 8, 9. So yeah, I was disappointed with just 3-0. But yeah, that's my. We played okay. We played well. We played okay. You know, it just disappointment really that there weren't more goals.
Fair enough. Who wants the next one?
I'll go if you like. Finn was back in the back four after his spell out.
How'd you play?
Yeah, he played all right. I hadn't realised that he played a few games while he was away. I thought he was mostly suspended, but he wasn't. He apparently had played 3 or 4 games for Cray, and no, he looked good. But it was like Malk said, there was no threat really. So, but if you don't step up in games like that, you could be the one that, you know, suddenly you're on the back foot, and then a little team like that can suddenly don't want to disrespect, but they were very poor, like Malk said, and very unfit looking. God, some of the subs that came on, Jesus Christ! I think
Nathaniel Pinney.
Yeah, Gary Histig could have gone on and made some of them.
he would have caused carnage at Histig up there. Come on.
But they all played. No, they played well. It's just like Malk said, it would have been nice to get some more goals. I mean, to be fair, Ben missed a penalty. Norrie's goal was brilliant.
Nice
really
to see him score. His mum was happy as well. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So no, he did really well. He had a good game, but you'd hope he would do against a team like that, you know. And everybody's everybody played all right, and it just been about. It would have been better if it was 5, 6, 7, really. Especially at the end of the year, you might need those goals. You know, just a bit of goal difference. Yeah, overall, thought it was pretty. Yeah, it's an entertaining game, but should have been more.
Okay, Andy.
Yeah, I thought it was really competent. I thought it was nice to see Tom and Nori playing well together. I thought Nori Scott was unfortunate not to get man of the match. Actually,
yeah,
if only for the goal. They said I don't know whether Mr. and Mrs. Chalmers keep on infiltrating the sponsors box,
Yeah.
but he seems to get. He must have a lot of bottles of champagne at home. I think so. I think Nori deserved it, and it's nice to see him. I mean, it's no harm in a game like that to give him a bit of confidence, because that's all he needs, really. I mean, the goal was superb. It was a lovely goal.
He did that thing though, didn't he? Scored that goal, and about 2 minutes later, he was on the break again, exactly the same position, and he should have shot. He passed.
Yeah,
He did need to score it though, because if he hadn't scored it, I think Sam Adams would have hit him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
well, it was good. So it was extremely competent. Good to see Finn O'Mara back and looking solid, and just shows how you have to be careful about loaning players out, because people like Finn are essential. It's essential to have 3 really good centre backs. I know Ollie Black can play there, but it just shows what a big part he's got, and it gives Craig a chance to rest properly as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of injuries too, didn't we? So I mean, well, I take it was injuries. I didn't know about Jake Elliott, whether he was suspended or something, or whether he was injured, but he didn't play, did he?
No, he didn't. No, so that was.
Not sure what that was about.
Know anything, Malk? Malk, do you know anything about that? No. All right, go on. Sorry, Andy, carry on.
But it was really nice and competent. They weren't much cops. They were the first team I'd seen this season. Every team tends to have a couple of players, and you think, oh, they're good. But this team had none of them. And that's the first team I'd seen this season that had no one to worry about.
Yeah,
and most teams at least have a couple.
That's damning. That is. Ian.
I mean, yeah, what the others have said, really. I think it's quite easy to start those sort of games a bit flat, against bottom of the table-ish team. And we kind of went at it really early on. So I think it's better to score twice and then let it go flat than start flat and then have to sort of step it up later on. But yeah, once we'd scored 2 early goals, which were very good goals, I thought Chinedu McKenzie had his best game that I've seen him have for us anyway. He was offside notably less.
That sort of line with him, Ben Pope and James Hull gave them a lot of problems in that first half, actually. Yeah. They didn't know who to mark. So that it's really good. That worth mentioning. It's really good to see James getting a run and beginning to look like a first-team player as well. Yeah.
Very true.
So that's great to see him. We talked about him last year about this is the year he was because he's murdering everybody in the under-23. So he has to step up to the first team, and that's really, really good to see that.
Yeah,
but we had some narrow defeats against good teams, and it's nice to come up against a not good team and just basically put them away with no trouble at all, really. There's not a lot more you can say about it.
No, there isn't.
It was a slightly uneventful game in a strange little way because it was
so
undecided.
Can I just have a little talk about the attendance?
Okay, go on.
It's 652, and which is in some people's eyes that was pretty bad. Come on, really pretty bad. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, we'd have been biting out somebody's hand off for 652, wouldn't we? In November, leading up to Christmas, there's all sorts of problems with people not being able to afford this and that. And I'm one of these people. You actually have to choose the games now because I can't afford to go to all of them. And I saw things about medal hunters. They're not. Well, you're always going to get that. If you're on a winning streak, you're going to get a certain amount of crowd. You look at Littlehampton's crowd last year when they were on that FA Vase, was it? They got to the final. They were getting 1,000. I looked last week, 120.
Yeah.
It's a bit. I mean, they're doing all right. They're not doing too bad, but 650 in November, it's not that bad. You'd like to be. Plus, you've got the World Cup on for those 10 people that are watching it. It's no, I didn't get that.
Saying that though,
how many season ticket holders do we actually have? How many? Does anybody know how many season ticket holders we have?
You'd probably think 300 or 400, probably.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I'm just wondering what that core core number is, but it is true.
Someone who goes in the director's box should be able to find that out.
That's true, actually. That's a good point. Someone like, yes, that's good. I wonder who wants to have access to those people.
Yeah.
I'll ask.
You're amongst the hoi polloi now.
Yeah, in the boardroom.
Leave it with me. Next time I'm down there nicking a digestive biscuit.
But saying that is a point. First of all, anyone that's gone to this club longer than 5 years knows that 650 is nothing to be laughed off.
Exactly.
That was a sunny Easter Monday against Lewis, wasn't it? That was a sunny Easter Monday against Lewis, and everybody turned up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. Remember the when we had the cup run and we got relegated in the league? What year was that again?
2012-13.
Yeah,
12-13, right? And it was. I remember going there and about 180 people there.
Yeah, the week after we lost.
Yeah, do you remember how miserable that was? You were there for that one. Oh my God, yeah, that was miserable. Happy memories. Why do we remember these?
I know. You'd have thought there'd have been a few people thought, okay, I had fun. I'm going to go back and watch Hastings, but what was it, 120, 128, something like that.
My point being, though, I think there's one thing, and I think you'll think I'm on the club this podcast, but I do think promotion could be better. That the physical promotion around the town, radio, things like I do think we should make a little bit more effort as a club, because you're always going to get your glory fans,
Yeah.
But
every club has them, so.
And maybe look at ticket pricing, but then they can't, can they, for league games, can they? And we're out the cups now, aren't we?
Mm.
Yeah.
Set by the league, isn't it?
Yeah. So don't ignore me. That's usual nonsense from me. Right then. Well, let's look forward to Bognor. Andy's going to start this one off. Andy, looking forward to Bognor, are you, sir?
Yeah, it's my birthday on Friday, so I shall be unavailable on Saturday.
You weren't going to join us on the train at 10 o'clock, leaving Hastings?
Any flat whites?
It's just, what can I say? I'll refrain.
Washing your hair.
I'll take the fifth on that.
No. Right. Well, yeah, just so anyone listening or watching, 10 o'clock train. Hopefully lots of us are going to be going. It's going to be good fun. A little bit of a sing-song. I do believe that even Louis Rogers' mum might be there singing more Whitney Houston's favourite songs and other medleys. I
had a message from Tim Reeves to say that he's going with quite a few on the 9:39.
Well, what? Why can't Tim?
This is what we're talking about: a divided fan base.
He wants to get involved. Probably wants.
Can't he?
Make sure he's got a seat.
Wait 20 minutes, and then Louis' mum's on the train. Come on.
There you go.
And she sings. She's got an absolute an angelic voice.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord.
No. Well, so he's going on the 9:39.
That's what I said. There's a few of them.
Splitters. Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Anyway, yeah, Bognor. So what's the chances at Bognor? I mean, I reckon we'll win that. 2-1 I've got.
No, I always like to go to Malcolm because he usually says we're going to lose. Go on, Malcolm.
I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
To us.
To us.
To Hastings.
No, where are they in the league now? I did check a few weeks back, but
they're not far.
They're about mid-table, aren't they?
Mid-table, I think.
14th.
Yeah, lower mid. I think you're half them.
Their form is very similar to us. We're 8th in the form, but they're 9th. So
and they're at home.
1-1 draw is a good shout.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't they lose their last home game? Last couple. Come on, Leon.
They lost to Haringey Borough,
and we beat them, didn't we?
Yeah, that was on Saturday.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to adjust that, Mel?
But they're getting similar gates. Well, they've got 630 on Saturday, so
that should be good.
700 or 800, maybe.
Oh, that'd be nice big crowd, bit of noise.
Ooh.
Right, so
off time's changed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock now. 3 o'clock kickoff. Leon, your thoughts on what will the score be?
Yeah, I agree with Mark. 1-0. Yeah, studied the stats, the form. 1-0's a good shout.
You're never going to
he knows his stuff.
Turn on your agent, are you?
No, exactly.
So good to see him, old Leon.
Oh, you too.
Yeah. And notice you said old Leon there as well. Leon.
He's looking old now.
I hear. Well, I'm stressed. I'm beaten up. I'm dishevelled.
Did you pay that goalie to do that, Mark?
I didn't even know Leon was still with us. I thought he'd left this world. The last time I see him was when we won the championship, won the league. That was the last time I see him. He ain't been around since.
I saw you at Folkestone, and I was queuing for the
Oh yeah,
And
the other
food.
because you spotted me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's gone.
Oh, well, he could have been my first. He could have been my first minute silence.
There you are. I thought I died on Saturday and I was looking up at the sky. I thought, where am I?
As long as you weren't thinking of
Birds
Malcolm.
flying around my head.
Right, Ian, score, what do you think?
No comment. It's a trap, and I'm not falling for it.
You never do you?
No.
Andy?
Well, I think I would be more than happy with a low score draw. You know, draw at home. Sorry, draw away, win at home, get in the playoffs.
Nice. Windy?
2-1 to us. And George has just messaged in 5-0 apparently.
We've all had a drink.
Yeah.
I think a nice tasty 1-0 away.
Ooh.
1-0 away. I think I'm even going to say Brefo's going to get the goal from a corner. There you go.
And we've got a game next week as well, haven't we? Next Tuesday.
Tuesday, Canvey Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, have we?
Good night.
That's going to be a good game, I reckon. Home.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
And they're quite useful, aren't they? So we got that guy to play for us at the beginning of the season. I can't remember what his name is.
Go on, have a look.
Oh, Danny Parrish.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
Canvey Island now?
Okay.
Yeah, Canvey, yeah. He was on the bench, but
He scored a few goals, or about 3 or 4 goals at the
Yeah.
early part of the season, the first
Yeah.
few games in.
yeah.
And I remember us saying, you know, was it a good move letting him go to sort of a rival? And then he ain't really played much. And then you don't play, you don't score. So he ain't done either.
Yeah.
Be interesting. He was a half decent player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking of which, very quickly, Joe Gabodi, now he's at Gillingham. He's got a possibility of a couple of good games coming up, hasn't he? Is it Wolves they've got? Is it Wolves in the one of the and Leicester, I think. So you never know. I think you might see him on telly soon.
Well, yeah, he scored for the youth team, didn't he? The under-18s or under-23 cup, or I can't remember. Is it under-23?
I heard today that the lease for Gillingham's grounds has been bought by some elaborately named American. So I thought that was quite interesting. So they've sold the lease for the ground to some American businessman today.
That's not your doing, Malk, is it?
No.
Is it a Mr. D. Trump?
Yeah, well, you know, it was some sort of brilliantly elaborate sort of.
It'd be a golf course then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He likes his
So,
golf courses.
So we'll all be going over to Gillingham Soccer Club soon.
Yeah. Should it exist?
Yeah.
He scored in the week, Joe, didn't he? He scored in the FA Youth Cup against Plymouth. And I think Gillingham are on live their FA Cup replay thing against Dagenham and Redbridge. That's on live on TV.
Yeah.
So you might see him on there.
Yeah, cool.
Nice, be good.
Good for it.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Right, well, chaps, I think we're done.
Just quickly, Chris.
I don't think we're done. Malcolm.
People's view on the top of the league manager going.
Oh, yeah. Going to the bottom of the league, Faversham.
Yeah.
What were we thinking about that? Potter's Bar, wasn't it? Potter's Bar boss.
Potter's Bar, yeah.
Does anyone know about that?
What was that again?
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, Potter's Bar boss, top of the league,
Yeah.
has left the club and gone to Faversham, who are bottom of the South East League.
Wow.
Does he live in Faversham?
I know, this is all about money.
He lives in Gillingham.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
God.
But they got like Zach Anser, haven't they? Who's a half decent player.
Yeah.
Oh, has he got there, has he?
Yeah, it's apparently some non-league Kent podcast was messaging me saying that they've got about three players in on massive wages, the last 3 signings. So it could have been Malcolm under a disguise. I don't know.
Dropped down a league and they're bottom of that league. So
And he's saved £2 every Saturday on the Dartford tolls as well.
yeah.
It's all good.
and he drives a diesel car. He gets done for that soon.
All right. Anyway, so look, chaps, thank you as ever for coming on. The lovely Ian, Andy, Windy, Leon, and Big Malk. Thank you, and I will see you at the game. 10 o'clock, not 9:39. Come on, tell him.
I will, but he'll be there early.
That we stand up for.